I'm back from Cornwall, guys. Thank God for that. It was tough being away from my records and obviously the people I love for a few days, but I'm back now. Apologies I didn't do a video at the weekend. Stuff going on and it's quite warm, so I was in the garden most of the time playing with my son. But now I've just done some work for the day. I thought I'd better show you some cool death metal vinyl and show you some new stuff which I've got, and maybe some old stuff as well which I've had a while. So we'll start with this. This is Gore Obsessed by Cannibal Corpse. Now a lot of you have been asking me what the reissues look like on Back on Black, and Back on Black are a retrospective record company which get classic metal albums and hard rock albums too, that's the back, and reissue them on 180 gram vinyl. Now if you're lucky enough like me to get some of the first pressings of each release, they always do the first pressing on a coloured, limited coloured vinyl. Now this one for Gore Obsessed is on an amazing pus green, I like to call this one. Really quite, they're all transparent. But if you do get the second pressings, now they are either on standard black vinyl or a transparent red. And I know this because I've asked the owner of the company, and also I used to have a copy of Death Scream Bloody Gore, a first pressing which was a white with a red splatter, and I've earned a second pressing as well which was just a standard red. So this is Gore Obsessed. One of their later albums, this one, I believe this one was, the last one was Evisceration Plague, then Kill. Gore Obsessed was before that. So I think it was about 2006 this one originally came out. Back on Black are good because they do them all on gatefold, so you've got the lyrics, pictures and credits there. The sound for Back on Black has vastly improved. Some of their original releases, such as the Burzum records, a couple of the Death albums as well, sonically weren't up to snuff. I believe that they changed pressing plants. I think that they use a pressing plant now which is located in Eastern Europe as opposed to China, I think, which was where they did it before, and the quality has improved. The only thing I don't like about Back on Black is their insistence on using matte sleeves, as I always think that shinier sleeves, even though they have the fingerprint marks sometimes on them, they're a little bit more to what the original releases were. So it's a good album, this one. It's got Corpse Grinder on vocals, and they're worth picking up. You can get these in the UK for about £12 to £15. Abroad, obviously, if you're in the States, they do tend to cost a little bit more. Moving on from there, this is a reissue copy of Incantation, Onward to Golgotha. This is part of the Decibel magazine in America Hall of Fame. This is from Relapse Records, 180 gram reissue. And one of the really cool things about this is that inside you have, just to show you collectors, you have your standard credit lyric sheet, but not only that, in this copy here you get, there's the vinyl, a couple of really nice goodies. You get, for your guitar case, an album cover sticker, that's the rear with the ad on the back, and for your metal denims, an Incantation Onward to Golgotha patch. So I really, as you all know, I like inserts, I like extras to vinyl, and this is really cool. This is something a little bit extra that the record label have done, and I for one salute them for doing that, because, you know, vinyl can cost more than a CD. You know, some people say, oh, it doesn't quite sound as good as a CD, to which I say, bullshit. There's nothing better, in my opinion. Not everyone agrees with me, but sonically nothing sounds as warm as a good vinyl pressing. This is a really, really brutal album, this one. This came out in the early 90s, 92 originally, and my God, if you'd listened to this in '92, this was another realm of brutality. Forget Cannibal Corpse, this was uber heavy, and it still sounds really heavy today. So for you guys in America, you should be able to pick this up from relapse.com reasonably inexpensively, about 15 bucks. Moving on, a lot of people have been saying, Rob, you talk about death metal but you don't talk about Deicide. But I am today. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you 2 copies of the debut album Deicide, which is one of the classic death metal albums from 1990. I bought this around about the same time as I got Morbid Angel's debut, Altars of Madness. 2 classic debut albums. This, if you'd like to know, is the reissue copy, which came out last year. It's got a different back cover, and inside it's very different to the original first pressing, which I'm going to show you in a minute. So you've got the lyrics again, different artwork, and you've actually got a later day picture of Glenn Benton. It's a heavier pressing. This is a 180 gram pressing as opposed to the original. This one is on Roadrunner Records, Cargo Records imprint. So that's the reissue. Sounds good. The pressing's a lot heavier. It's 180 gram. But as we all know, nothing quite compares to the original. So if we get them side to side, there's not a lot of difference. The original is slightly pinker on the medallion, whereas that's more of a purple, if you see on the light. But there's not a lot of difference. The back covers, that's the original, and that's the reissue. So I much prefer the original. Fantastic iconic shot of Glenn Benton, Steve Ashheim, the Hoffman brothers before the monument. And inside it's got the drawing with lyrics, the Tri-Fiction graphic, and a fantastic shot of the boys with Glenn going absolutely crazy. Musically, it's probably their best album. It's either that or Legion. Legion was much more complex, whereas this is more. This is quite complex, but it's more ferocious death metal. So that's definitely one you want to get in your collection. Managed to pick this up for a bit of a bargain. It only cost me £12. Which is about $19 for an original, which actually worked out less than the reissue. So make of that what you will. This is the one you really, really want. The reissue's good, but it isn't the same. Not so much death metal, this album, but essential metal listening. Anyone that doesn't know King Diamond, or anyone that hasn't heard Merciful Fate, which was his band prior to going solo, needs to get into King Diamond. This is one of his best albums. This is his 3rd studio album from '88, Them. It's a theme, it's a concept record, a really, really spooky story, which I won't go into. You can look at that on the internet if you want to know the ins and outs. This is an original pressing from '88 on Roadrunner Records. This is the European pressing. The first pressings all came with something a little bit extra. This one's got the original lyric inner. This was bought on release day in 1988 by me. The original pressings include this. Now if you're going to get this second hand on eBay, make sure you get a first pressing with the booklet, which is like a basic, very basic biography on King Diamond, but does include some really cool photographs. Andy LaRocque plays guitar on this. Look at that. If that's not metal, I don't know what is. Includes some really cool guitar work from Pete Black and Andy LaRocque, who played on a couple of Death's latter day LPs. Chuck Schuldiner was a huge fan of Andy LaRocque, and I believe he played on Individual Thought Patterns, I think. So that is a classic album. It's genuinely quite a scary album. Something you need in your collections. In terms of value, it's not particularly valuable. You could probably pick this up for about £10, 15 American dollars. This may go for a little bit more though, saying that, because it's in very good condition. It's been owned by me since day one, and it does include the lyric booklet. So if you're, sorry, not the lyric booklet, the Story So Far book on King Diamond. So if you wanted to get a copy with that, I reckon you could probably pay about £20, £25, £30 probably with the booklet. Moving on from there, everybody knows Massacre, but not everybody has heard their original demo tapes from the mid-80s. This is a reissue by a German record label called Iron Pegasus, and this is basically a couple of live tracks along with the two Massacre demos, Infestation of Death and the other one, was it Death in Hell, or I can't remember now what it was called, it escapes me. Infestation of Death and, no, it's escaped me, but here we go. This is a gatefold sleeve, lots of photographs, pictures of the demo covers there, which are now really hard to get hold of, but the sound quality for the demos and the live tracks, which were recorded, as I say, 86, are really, really good. Iron Pegasus have done a great job with this release here. Fantastic. This is very, very cheap to get hold of as well. This cost me £12. You can get this in America as well as an import. Have a look on eBay. It's a relatively recent release, this one. I believe this was pressed in 2010. You can get it, I think, on Hell's Headbangers Records. They're the distro which distribute this one in the USA. You can get it in a picture disc version, which includes the gatefold as well, but mine's just standard black vinyl. But Massacre, I'm a big fan of From Beyond, which was issued in 1990 on Earache Records. If anyone hasn't heard Massacre, you need to. If anyone hasn't heard the vocals of Cam Lee, you really need to. He's in so many bands nowadays, like Bone Nora, and so on and so forth. Check him out. A cool release, one I got this week, so I thought I'd just show you that. Really, really cool stuff. Okay, my last one for the day is a bit of a South American metal extravaganza, which you don't see very often. This is The Spell of Retribution by a really cult death metal band from South America called The Chasm. Now this one is really hard to get hold of, and I'll tell you a strange story. I bought this, it must have been, when was it released? 2004. So it must have been 2004 I bought this. I've owned this from new, and I actually walked into, I don't know if anyone from America have heard of this chain, but HMV, which is like a, well, they've really gone downhill. They used to sell a little bit of vinyl, now it's all Blu-rays and games. You can't really get vinyl there anymore at all. But I walked in, and amongst all of the real popular music, they just had this. And I thought, bloody hell, this sort of stuff in HMV just doesn't go. I guess it's a bit like walking into Walmart if you're in America and you see this. It's like, it doesn't happen very often. And I just picked it up. It cost me about £11, about $16. So I've owned this from new. It's a great record, very thrashy. Lyrics there and credits, and it's just something you don't see every day. I know in the second-hand market this one goes for about £35, so that's $60. So I'm really pleased to own this one. I don't play it too often. I should play it more, really. It's one of those, sometimes you buy LPs and you don't listen to them a lot for some strange reason. I don't know why, you sort of skip past them, but I'll probably play this in a moment, this one, when I stop recording the video. So I just thought I'd show you that as well, because you don't often see that in many metal collections, let alone my collection. So that's the records I'm showing you today. We'll probably be doing some more videos towards the sort of tail end of the week now. As I say, there's always stuff arriving in the torture chamber, so check out my next videos. I hope you've enjoyed this one, and rock on, and I'll see you all soon, guys. Take care.